Oh, are you all ready?
Thank you.
Okay, right. All right. So I think we're recording. Yes, we are. Wonderful. So I hope everybody had a really nice summer this year and everything. It was a bit wet in places, but it was still a nice break and everything. Well, for me anyway. Been very busy and stuff, but welcome back. So it's lesson 1 of 10, and we're going to start this series by looking at perspective, because somebody said, "Oh, can we do more architecture and buildings and maybe crowds?" Which is a subject I've done a couple of times with you all and with other students as well. So we're going to look at perspective to begin with, and we're going to look at we're going to start off with 2-point perspective and some really some of the more basic skills of creating shapes that have got perspective in them, so that then you've got more of an understanding of how it all works. So traditionally, what I probably do is draw a whole building with the whole class and things like that. But it can get a little bit confusing for some people. So, and it's quite it is quite something to get your head around. So, what we're going to do is look at a slightly different method to enable you to be able to draw out a building. And also sort of get more to grips with how perspective works. So I've kind of devised a little bit of a different approach. Now, hopefully everybody has managed to download or print out the images that I've sent. If you haven't, we'll try and work our best way around things. That may be that you go and download those pictures and then work directly off the screen by getting the outlines, but you'll understand what I mean when we have a look at all this stuff in a few minutes. Okay, so we'll go over to the main screen and things. So switching over now. So here are some diagrams that explain what 2-point perspective is. So basically, there's 2 vanishing points. So if I'll grab hold of I think it's this one. Yep, it's the top one there. I'm going to make that bigger so that we can have a closer look. Now you'll see, and when I was in class today over in Raunds, you couldn't see these figures, which are actually really helpful to get an understanding of perspective with 2 points, 2 vanishing points. So the very top one, you can see there's a chap or a person standing on a raised platform, and there's a line which you can see it starts off, it says F1 and then F2. So they would be the vanishing points, but also the eye line of that person, or as I mostly say, the horizon line. So in perspective, and when you're out and about, you see people walking away, or you see buildings disappearing down a street, and they all go towards a point where everything will kind of get so small you can't really see it anymore. So that's how this is how we actually use perspective with a building, or in this case, almost like these box sort of shapes, to create a little bit of a sense of space, the illusion of space and distance within a picture. So if we move down to the other ones just below it, you can see the viewpoint has gone a little bit low. The person is now not standing on a platform, but is now much lower down, in fact, with feet on the ground, and the eye line goes straight across through F1 and F2, but you can't see the top of the building anymore, or top of the block anymore, because the person is lower. Therefore, the horizon line, or the line of sight, is lower too. So, and then we go down a bit further again, and it says Vista Serena. I don't know what that is. It's just got it off the internet. But the person is now sitting down on the floor. So the building looks like it's higher up because the person is lower down, and you've got the F1 and F2 line lower again. Okay, now the last one here, or the second from last one, the person has fallen down a manhole and is looking directly across the bottom of the floor, and is looking directly up at the building. And Vista Celeste, the person is stuck down the manhole, has fallen all the way down the bottom and is looking underneath. So this diagram is the opposite of the one at the top, but it's almost the same. If you flip this picture upside down, it would look the same. So I can do that, I think. Hang on. Whoa. So there you go. It looks like it's from above now. And first time I've done that. And then look, there's the person now upside down, but looking underneath the building. And if I swizzle it around again, oh no, hang on. This is where I do it all wrong and get it all messed up. Yeah, messed it up now. Hang on. There you go. Right. There. So I'm going to show you how to go about drawing with these 2 points of perspective. So F1 and F2 being the vanishing points on there. Okay. So this can be applied to the buildings that hopefully we're going to have a go. We're going to have a go at drawing a couple of buildings this evening. But you'll see how I've tried to help you out in a few seconds as well. So let's have a look at a couple of buildings here. So here, you've got on the left-hand side, you can see this building here has a center line going right through the middle where the doorway, I think it's the doorway at the front there, goes all the way to the points of the building, and then to the left and to the right, you've got two diagonal lines going down, and at the bottom of the building there, you've got two diagonal lines going up. So eventually those two lines will converge on the vanishing point. So it's exactly the same as what we were just looking at a few minutes ago, which is on the right hand side here. And I think this sheet's available on the website as well for you to have a look at. Okay, so we're going to go over to the desk, and I'm going to go through everything that I thought we could try out this evening and see how we get on. So over to the desk. Hopefully everything's all good. Yep, it is. So I'm just going to see if I can get a bit more light on here as well. There we go. Just move that light over. There, slightly better. So there's our diagrams just over there. Just going to put the other pictures off for a second. There we go. So there's our diagram. And again, it shows the 2 points of perspective, just like it did before. But we're going to have a go at creating something like this. I'll just move myself down a bit. So this is how we go about it. So first of all, we're going to draw a horizon line and put two dots either side. And then we're going to draw a line straight down the middle to get us started. All right. Now, at different points, you may want me to show you this again, because I did go around and explain it a number of times this morning. That's absolutely fine. So just if you get stuck on yours, I'll have a closer look at it. I'll leave this on the screen as well, so and a bit bigger in a few minutes so you can see it as well. So first of all, what you want is your horizon line. So that's as simple as, just see if I get a bit better focus. A little bit better. So first of all, you draw a line straight across like that, and a dot on one end and a dot on the other like that. Okay. So this is the eye line or the horizon line. So I just write eye stroke horizon there. Now you can decide, it doesn't matter where you put your vertical line along here. Now this is the center, the corner piece of the building. So I'll just make that a bit bigger so you can see that. So the center line runs all the way down the center of all those boxes just there. So we're going to just put a center line down here. So don't worry about how big it is or anything like that at this point. And then decide where your box is going to go. So I'm going to do one that crosses over the horizon line along here. So I'm going to do a little dot and another little dot down below. So this is the top of the building or box, and this is the bottom, like that. Okay, now you're going to make sort of a kite shape next. So I'm going to join up that dot to that dot, like that dot to that dot, like that, and do the same on the other side, like that. So we've got this kind of kite shape. I'll zoom in a bit closer because it's a little bit small, I think, on the screen. Okay, so you should have sort of a little bit of a kite shape when you get to this stage.
Henry, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
Nell's trying to get on.
Oh, sorry, Nell's trying to get on.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Right. She's not showing up on here at the moment. I wonder if she's got the right code. Is she texting you?
Jude texts me, so I'll text Nell and
Yeah, ask her if she's got the code from the email, because she's not showing up on my screen here at the moment. So yeah, I can't see her at all because it'd show up above my name. So yeah, see if how she gets on, and otherwise I'll try and sort it out in a minute for her. Okay, so we've got this kind of diamond shape or kite shape here. This line here represents the top and the bottom of the building, as I mentioned before. And now I can decide how big I want this box to be. So if I say I'm going to go here, and again, you can choose, it's up to you. Here we go. And I'm going to make it that wide on this side, like that. So I've now got my first box shape, like that. Just there. Okay, and as you see on the diagram up there, you can shade one side to give it a 3D quality, like that. Okay, so it now looks a little bit more 3D. Now I can, from those two vanishing points, I better zoom out again, you can put in another box. So I'm going to use that middle line again down there, and say the top of my box is going to go here and here, like that. So same as before. And then I'm going to join up to the VP, the vanishing point again, like that. And like that. Okay, so now we're looking above. So that'll be on the diagram sheet that we looked at. We're now on that platform just there. So we're looking above the box. All right, now these, just as a reminder, these skills will just give you an idea of how perspective kind of works a little bit more. Now, make sure that your next two lines for the width of the box are vertical. And a good measure of that is either the line you've drawn there or the line that you've drawn, or the edge of the paper. So there we go, look. So there's the front of the box. I can shade that side in. But what about the top? So the top of the box, you now cross those two lines over each other. So watch this. So these 2 points here, take it across. I'm going to go under that box and across that way. So I've got two boxes, one on top of the other, or one floating above the other. And because I'm looking from above, I can now see above the box. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, don't worry, because I will do it again, or I will show you how it works so that you can get it. Okay. So that is 2-point perspective, and it's called that, as you probably worked out, because it's got 2 vanishing points, and these points all go towards a vanishing point. And it's the same for a building that you might go and draw in a little bit. All right. Now we'll come back to that if we need to. Now you'll remember. I'll just switch that one off and put on this. Now you'll remember, or you may have printed this off. If you have, it's going to be very helpful. But here we've got a 2-point perspective drawing that I've made for you to work into today. And this is so that you can experiment with shading and also with how to add windows and details in. So it gives you a chance just to sort of have a little bit of a draw and have a little bit of shading and things like that. So you can see on this building here that I've already put in some archways in here, which correspond to the picture of the building that we're looking at. So you can see the little archways on the windows and so forth on here. So the idea of this, printing this off, is for you to then use a biro to add some shading to it and some details, and that helps you to understand how the shape of the windows change and things like that, and go into the vanishing point as well. So I'll show you that version that I've got. So I took this, I took this drawing and I then started to add shading to it. So it gives you a real head start, but gives you a chance to have a little play around with the shading. So if I zoom right in, you can see how I've started to add the shading onto this building just here. I did have a picture of it, but I haven't now. Anyway, you can see it on the screen. I'll put it up in a few minutes. So the idea there is for you to start adding some hatching and cross hatching to it, which I've shown everybody before. You may have one of these already, which is a sheet with lots of different shading techniques and things on it. So you can, if you need a bit of practice, because we haven't been doing much for a while, then take hold of one of these sheets, have a look at it, and have a practice at cross hatching and things like that. So if I was to do that on the back of this sheet, I'm sure you, I think most people have seen me doing this quite a lot over the different sessions we've been doing. But we've got a hatch and a cross hatch, and if you're using a biro, which is what I was doing, you can make some really nice shading just with a biro by lightly shading on the surface, and you get these beautiful shaded bits. But you can also do things like scribbling and things. So I've done a bit more of that down here on the textured wall and so forth. Okay, so that's there to sort of, it's a building that's mostly drawn, but a lot of the details aren't in, but it'll give you a chance just to get stuck in and do a little bit of shading. Now, quite a lot. I've been talking quite a lot, but I'm going to show you one last thing, which will enable you to do a drawing like the one up here yourself. So I'll just move that out of the way. I've put this one on the shared drive, but you'll know that about this one as well. So this is a pub called the Labour and Wait, which I think is a really nice looking building. It's quite interesting to look at. So I've decided to use that as an example of a drawing. I did a sketch of it earlier, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But first of all, take your print. Oh gosh, they're here. Oh my gosh. Admit. There we go. Hello. They're here now. Hi, Chanel. I know.
Jamie.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't see you earlier. Sorry.
I don't know what happened because I clicked the link. It just said that you were waiting to start. Yeah, it did the same for me. I couldn't get in. Didn't you?
Yeah, because it did.
My brother wasn't the only one, Fran.
Yeah.
Oh, it's taken me all this time to get there.
Well, it didn't show up on screen until a few minutes ago, but I'm glad I've got you anyway.
I'm here.
Okay. I'll go over some of the stuff again with you.
I'm just gonna get my headphones because my speaker's playing up.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So we've got this picture of a pub, okay, called the Labour and Weight, and I've cut it out of the sheet of paper. So originally it looked like this, okay, and I cut the sky out and everything, and now I'm going to mark off the edges and some of the details of this building so that I can join up the edges to then start to create this three-dimensional effect. Okay, so, and I've got really dirty paper again because I had that earlier, so hopefully it'll be okay. So all you do is you go around the edges and join up everything, and you'll see how it relates quite closely to the box idea that we were doing earlier. I'm doing this in pen, it shows up a little bit better. So there's my shape of my building. So if I put that on the top there, you can see how it reflects that underneath. So it's a much quicker and easier way of starting to put together your drawing. Now the other thing you can do then, of course, is fold it down that center line just here, put it on top like that, and just make sure you line it up as well as you can. And then I can start to mark off using a ruler if it helps, which it will do in this case. Mark off where the details of the building are. So this one is actually quite a challenging one to do because the windows are all slightly different shapes. So I can do that. And then I'll just show you. You can join those lines up then. And you'll notice it looks a bit odd when you put them in because of the perspective, and the lines that I'm putting in here, look, you can see are starting to fan out as well. So let's just put that back. One there. One there. I actually put the pathway in earlier. So you can see how you can get the perspective, but without worrying too much about all the individual measurements. And I've done one slightly wrong there, actually. There we are. Now I can then go vertically with my ruler. So you find the edge, I'm just finding the edge of the windows, like this. So I'm just plotting where the windows are on the building. And then I'm going to join those up too. And we'll have a plan pretty much like the one I've shown you a few minutes ago. Okay, so I've started there. Look, now one of these is the window just here, just there. So I can then put in the archway and start to work out the shape of the building and the windows that go in it this way. So once you've had a go at doing the drawing that I showed you a few minutes ago, and you feel ready, have a go at doing either this pub, which I think is a little bit more challenging, or have a go at doing this one. So this one, which is also on the website or on the drive, you can print that one off and cut it out, and look, all the windows are exactly the same size. So I don't think it's as interesting, but it's interesting in that you can start to work out how perspective works. Okay, so 3 things to do. 1, try out this 2-point perspective with boxes. 2, if you've got the printout, and hopefully you have, start to have a go at putting in the details on this one. And then 3, either choose the more challenging pub or the industrial kind of 1920s building that we've got here. All right, so is everybody okay with that at the moment? Apart from somebody who might not have chosen Chanel and Fran, I'll go through the 2 points perspective for you again, so that you get it and everything. You can have a go as well. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, no sound. There you go.
I haven't got the printout. That's all I've got.
Ah, okay. So I think the best thing to do, if you haven't got the drawing, which is this here, is to have a go at using the technique that I just showed you by cutting that picture out, folding it in half, and trying out getting the overall shape of the building. So this, where I've done it a bit darker around the whole of the building, get those large lines first to get the shape of the building by cutting it out first and then marking off the corners of the building, joining those up, and then you'll have the overall shape, and then starting to try and put it together, like the one that I just showed you, which is this pub just here.
That will be fun.
I know. I know. I am wondering how easy this is going to be to do tonight online, because I know what it's like learning it and things as well. Okay.
Had to go many times.
Yeah, I know. I've tried a slightly different approach to help people, because I know that some people just get it, and some people just go, "What?"
It's like crocheting. We can't do that either.
Okay. All right. That's so, fine. Any other questions? Yes.
So Jamie, if you, I'm starting to run before I can walk here, but if you were drawing a scene with, say, several buildings, and what was like this was standing out a bit more, would you always do the technique that you showed us first, rather than ever freehanding, just to get you kind of your building?
Yeah. So
afterwards.
Somebody was talking about if you're doing a live, you're out in the street and things like that, you would use the same sort of techniques, basically. So I would be looking for, say this building was in the foreground, this one, I would be looking at that one for all the perspective and things like that, so the vanishing points. And I was saying this morning that I would hold up my pencil and get the angle right, and then transfer those angles down onto the paper. And then literally you can also hold up your sketchbook to the building and see how it's working as well. But then when there's other buildings, you've got other lines of perspective, And one of the people this morning was saying that there was an artist who does this all the time and goes out and puts multiple lines of perspective on from different buildings within the same image. So so there's all sorts of more advanced things that you can learn, and these are things that I don't personally practice very much myself. I tend to, if I'm going to draw a building, I'll draw one of these, and then I'll look at all the other shapes that the other buildings are making, and then try and work it out as I go along.
When you first look at, say, the window sills and the tops of the windows, compared to the bottom of the building, I always think they're parallel. And it's only when you do these vanishing lines that you see actually they're not. But actual.
I mean, like on this building here, there are vanishing points. There's another vanishing point that goes up this way. Because it's going up towards the sky. So this side will go on for quite a long time off the page. And eventually all those lines will converge as well. So that's why when you do this, you'll see how the lines don't all stay vertical, like in our diagram we were doing. They do have a vanishing point as well. So there's all sorts of things going on within these
buildings.
Sorry?
But we won't go to New York then.
Well, we might do. I might get some New York pictures for you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So, okay. So the rest of the evening, I mostly work on this picture using a lot of cross-hatching techniques, and later on, I do something in the sky with different mark making, which contrasts quite nicely. So there's quite a lot to learn during this lesson, but it's a lot of fun, and if you keep practicing it, you will get better. So that little drawing that I just made there basically shows how to find the center of an archway in perspective. So if you've got the rectangle and the top and the bottom of the rectangle drawn out with the perspective lines, in other words, going to a vanishing point, and then draw a cross from corner to corner, you will find the center point, which you can then draw a vertical line on. So you may need to go back and have a quick look at that little drawing that I did back there, but it will help you to draw those archways, basically. So as I've mentioned before, when we're cross-hatching, it's a case of building up multiple layers of marks. So once you, as you can see here, to really accentuate the point or the corner of this building, I keep working back into that area on the corner there where the shadows are, in order to get a sense of how the light is falling on the building, which helps with the 3D quality of it. So on the top half of the building, I'm mostly using cross-hatching techniques with straight lines, but then down towards the bottom, where the more stony picture is, or the more stony bricks are, I end up using a lot of scribbly pictures. Sorry that the picture of the pub is on there at the moment. It's on there because somebody requested it to be there. But I am drawing this red brick building that I mentioned earlier, as you can tell. So at some points as well, I do use a ruler